Right, okay, so Steve and Dave, as I mentioned earlier on, for those that weren't here, are going to be talking to us for a little while about lucky draws. Does anybody know what a lucky draw toy is?
Yeah.
Yeah? Does anybody own a lucky draw toy? One person at the back. No? Anybody else? Oh.
Nope.
Yeah, these two might own one or two of them. I suppose probably the first question to answer or ask is
why?
Well, yeah, why do you own so many lucky draw toys? So, as I say, where are we in terms of...
Yeah, it's getting there.
It's getting there, ladies and gentlemen. I am reliably informed. It's a technical term. It is getting there. Yeah, so I suppose this panel is going to answer all of your questions about what is a lucky draw, why they buy so many lucky draws, and...
Good question.
Oh, go on then.
What are we looking at?
Okay, this is concept art for New Valaric from Visionaries. I'll fill in time. As Jim's seen it, we've bought various boxes of Visionaries work and hopefully should be releasing the book next year. We have something like 15,000 pages of storyboards. I can't remember how many pages of original concept art. Characters, backgrounds, yeah, pretty much everything.
Did you deliberately start with a slide to hawk an upcoming...
Next year!
Genius!
Armada.
Right, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hand you over to Steve and Dave Mapes, and they are going to take you through Lucky Draw. So, round of applause for them.
Next slide. So we're going to cover a lot of slides. So this is basically going to be a bit of death by PowerPoint. It's about 130 slides. There's a lot of lucky draw or campaign toys. There are some on here that you wouldn't have seen before. There is one on here that hasn't yet been announced.
Oh dear.
It covers basically 40 years of history. So we'll start off at the beginning. So versus my change is actually Diaclone. Thanks to Raz for producing some of these images. So these are some, I think they're chromed foiled carbon stickers from Diaclone, given out in a drawer, including the original train bots and various other toys which came into Transformers later on. We go into more sort of recognisable lucky draw toys, which are generally known as chromed figures. So originally, back in the day, what became Jazz and Blue Streak had chromed versions. Primarily the two gold versions here. So these were from 1983, from the magazine Ganglion Jensen. That's the it's two different books where it's been shown off. There's yeah, a couple of them. So these are some better pictures of the actual figures. And what we've done at the end of each section is basically put a checklist of what figures are available. So the Silver Fair Lady Z is a rumoured toy, but no one's ever seen it. It hasn't been in the images. It's suspected that someone saw a bad picture of a gold figure, thought it was silver, and it went on the internet in the 90s to say that this existed. Chances are it didn't. The Golden Fair Lady Z with crown sticker, that actually sold last July in Japan. It went for about $5,000. It's effectively the same toy as this one, but it has prowls, or well, not prowl, but the Diaclone sticker on the bonnet, but it's completely chrome underneath. I believe it might be a sample. Yeah, that was sold on Mandarake, the auction site. Then there's gold portrait of Jazz. And also the Gold Fair Lady Z, or Z Racing, which is a smokescreen. Yeah, and that was planned but never actually used, so it was one of the first kind of mock-ups to be used, and then they didn't actually go ahead with it. Man with a Golden Gun does exist. Gold Brownie, our new Holy Grail of toys again, thanks to... the images are from Maz, from TF.1, who will be here this weekend. It's basically if you're a Diaclone collector, it's the Holy Grail, which is the three prize toys in the boxes. And again, these are owned by Raz. He finally completed it about 2 years ago, having
having to spend a couple of decades trying to track them down. But at this point, they were all released in regular boxes.
So, Diaclone ended, Microchange ended, we're on to Transformers. So, how many people have seen the gold Optimus Prime statue from the Generations book? That one isn't that actual figure. The Generations book was a separate gold statue. There were two.
No, but
Basically, there was a TV magazine colouring competition. There were 3 prizes. If you came third, you won Landmine, regular release. If you came second, you won the silver Chrome Dome statue. If you came first, you won the gold Prime statue. The silver Chrome Dome statue, they are the only images that we've ever seen. They were scanned by Andrew Hall. I'm not sure if he's even got them online still.
yeah, so that was when he had his TF Pulp website in the 90s. It's a tiny GIF image. The Prime has turned up for sale and it is in a collector's hands. Chrome Dome has never turned up. So, chances are whoever won it originally either still has it or threw it away.
If you keep an eye on Primes, the writing below Prime, you'll see on the next slide. Can you go across this?
Whilst we'll
One job.
No selling Jim. So this is the image from the Generations book, which was a staff item. The writing below it basically is different to the original prize draw version.
It's dated 87 rather than 83.
There is also, this was a lucky draw gift set of Transformers Junior figures. They were the same as the original figures but came in a big white mail away. They are Convoy, Rodimus, Fort Max, God General, Super General and Star Saber. They were celebrating the 5 years of Convoy, released in 1990. These are lucky draw Kabayas from G1. So, I don't know if you know what Kabayas are in Japan. They're really small model kits. They're actually lucky draw versions, so they do chrome silver versions of various figures along the bottom as well. Again, Raz provided the image for us.
He's the only person that we know who actually has them. I personally never seen them come up for sale on either Asian size, American size. It just doesn't really happen. Certainly, someone have all of these.
So G1, we can't go on to more of the lucky draw toys that people know. So starting from Beast Wars, we'll work our way through to modern day. So you've got Gold Megatron. It was meant to be limited to 3 originally. Each part of Megatron is the throat bladder wasn't chromed because obviously it's rubber, so they couldn't.
Scorpion.
Yeah, we do own that one.
It was from the TV magazine. We actually first saw this toy for sale on eBay. I think it was 2002, 2003, and I saved the entire auction, all the text, who the seller was, and then about 6 years later we bought it from the guy who won the auction.
Okay, so some of the images we just have magazine scans. Some is deliberate, some aren't figures of these toys. So it's a little bit faded out because we've had to expand it up a lot. This is the only image of the gold Beast Wars figures, not including Primal and Megatron. So you've got Rhinox, Rat Trap, Cheetor and Dinobot, and Prime's in the middle. One person won all 5 from a competition through TV magazine. Never appeared online, never appeared in the images of the figures themselves. We collected a load of back issues of TV magazine in order to get scans of them. Okay. Right, so Gold Prime, rumoured online for quite a long time, has been limited to 1. There's at least 3. There were 3 different draws within the same magazine. First person who won all 5. Second people won gift sets.
It's not.
In fact, there's 10 in it. So it's 1 person won all 5, 3 won the gift set, which was Prime and Megatron, and 6 people won Prime on its own. There has been a gold Primal toy which has come up. It is fake. And it was confirmed as being fake. The real ones haven't been seen.
Does that happen a lot?
Yes,
there are some later ones, some Henkies especially.
the most fake line are kind of the Henky Classics. There's so many fakes of those, which we go into. And this was done by the same guy who made it. You can tell when you look at it, because the colour of the gold is different. over the years, Takara changed the colour that they used, and it's chromed in the gold of the period when it's only appeared online, rather than the one from the 90s, which is much lighter gold. It was also just after the reissue of the Beast Convoy tie came out, and they effectively took that, chromed it over. So we know someone who had it, and we just asked him, can you show us the stamps, base stamps on it? Yeah, and that was the reissue.
So we have a Beast Wars collector's book, which has quite a nice coloured picture of Gold Prime, and the red primer at the end isn't Burning Convoy, so there is a clear red transparent convoy called Burning Convoy. There was also a Lucky Draw version as well, which is this red and white version. That one and the blue are the two rarest Optimus Prime War convoys.
So again, limited to 20 pieces, came out in April '98. You don't really see it, and again, these were some of the first Lucky Draws where they weren't chromed over. Most of the prize toys are chromed, others aren't, and they obviously tend to last a lot better because the chrome just...
So yeah, there were 10 gold primes, 20 red primes, 30 blue primes.
Just a quick one, you said about checking the date stamp. Is there something on the date stamp that specifically says it's a lucky draw?
So no, the toy was made in a different country,
Right.
so it was a different factory stamp. But some of the boxes they remove the barcodes,
Right.
which is another way of telling some of the fates.
So that was the full sort of page magazine scan from this collector's book that came out in Japan, which was a really handy book. It had both these and Beast Wars 2, so it confirmed the existence of the red convoy that was previously just sort of rumoured. No one really knew the...
This toy was... How many people used to remember Robert Young's toy list? And it was like a text thing.
Old bastards.
It's going back to like the 90s, and it was probably the only place that actually listed Red Convoy and Burning Convoy as two separate figures. And as people went on, it kind of dropped out the internet of this other toy because there weren't images of it until the collector's book came out, and suddenly it was like, no, you've got Burning Convoy and then you've got the Red Convoy.
So we'll move on to the next series, so Beast Wars 2, Gal Video Convoy, based on an anime episode of Beast Wars 2. Going through.
So this was a prize draw from December '98, limited to 50 pieces.
The Black Lyre Convoy, limited to 10, exactly the same as the final released version. It has blue claws and it was numbered at the back. The interesting part was there was then an eBay auction with number 17. So either there were more than 10 or the one with number 17 is fake. It's also slightly different lettering compared to the magazine article. There is a grey clawed version that was listed as being the Lucky Draw version, but because of this Takara collector's book which came out, it clearly shows it's the blue claw one. There is also a gold claw version, which we're not sure where it came from, if it was a store exclusive or just miscoloured. There's a Gold Lyre Convoy. We've seen two different versions. So there's a chrome version, of which we've seen two, and there's a plastic version, of which we've only seen one, which is the one which we have. We believe that one's probably a test shot or an earlier sample. It would be harder to produce the plastic version than the chrome one, generally due to the red sort of pushing button on the chrome ones not being done. The plastic one was produced. Silver Galvatron. Galvatron itself, you yet don't have Beast Wars 2 Galvatron, is an awesome toy. There's a silver version, a gold version.
These are from '98, Comic Bonbon. Comic Bonbon is a really thick magazine in Japan of various comics, and they run prize campaigns, sometimes with images, sometimes with text, so you need to read through the magazine to try to find out what's actually in there, and it takes hours.
Okay, so Gold Galvatron is another toy where you'll not really see many pictures online. Listed for years as being limited to one, as no one really knew. There are three. It was released in 3 months in a row, one per month. So the first one was on the left hand side, the second one on the right hand side, then the next slide had the third image as well.
Yeah, sometimes with these magazines, so these are scans that we took from some of the hobby magazines. So over the years we've probably bought about 20 years worth of magazines. It's cost probably about 2 or 3 grand, either through Yahoo Japan, flying out to Japan and I spent hours in Osaka just going through magazines, trying to find back issues, and then trying to catch the last train back to Tokyo. Just to try to track down the price figures, because people had them listed, but a lot of the information online was wrong, or it was conflicting and no one had any actual evidence of where certain toys were from. So we were trying to just track down. A lot of the magazines we had to throw out because we had so many of them and there was no space. But what used to happen is people would see these scans online and they would see numbers like 50 and it's limited to 50 when it's nothing to do with it.
That is the only coloured image of the figure. Again, it's from that Beast Wars electric book. If you ever see that close book, really nice to get, and it shows what the toy would look like. We've never seen it for sale in Yahoo Japan or eBay or anywhere else. Moon, has anyone seen Beast Wars 2?
I've seen some of the episodes of the TF Cog fandom. I hope that counts.
Yeah.
Because it's English.
It's a real bizarre. We've got we're mad, so we bought the Japanese DVDs and watched them. We're trying to just listen to it. But Moon was this sort of weird, almost like sponsor character. And they did a lucky draw version of it. It's limited to 2,000, so it's one of the most common lucky draw figures they have. Which is white.
Benjamin is in it.
So, what's on? Beast Wars 2 custom colouring competition toys. Rumoured as being really rare, limited to one. These toys are really elusive. We've missed about 2 issues over a 10-year period of TV Magazine. We've not managed to find the magazine with this image in it.
So we actually believe it's from Comic Bonbon because we've pretty much discounted TV Magazine, TV Boy and Hyper Hobby, and there's 2 months of Comic Bonbon from this year, which is 98, that we haven't got. So we think it's a February 98 issue.
Generally with colouring competitions, and you'll see a bit later on, they'll have the forms to say sort of enter now, and a few months later this is the final toy, this is who won it. So we know, because we've got so many issues around where this came out in TV Magazine, if this is a TV Magazine offer, these wouldn't have been the finalised products, because it would have been, here is the competition, these are examples. If it's Comic Bonbon, then there may be. We're still trying to hunt these down. But it is a random colour of Lyra Convoy. Diamond Tasmanian Cure, quite similar to some of the later release ones. Bound Road from Robot Masters is really similar to the top left guy.
Is that Icard in the centre?
Icard was, yeah, so, yeah, top one. Scuba in the middle part, yeah, in like lime green. Green Apache, sort of blue black pomp, big horn.
Tasmanian Kid in the top one.
Yeah. So we go on to Beast Wars Metals, so there's a Gold Primal and Silver Megatron. They're fairly common, I think they're about 50 each or so. There's not really great thing to talk about on that part. There was also a Versus set, so you can get them individually. The Versus set is a lot more limited. We've only ever seen 2 images of these. This one from VeraQuest, and we know a guy in China also has it.
There was supposed to be 10, so the individual draws, there was 50 of each, and then there was 10 drawn as a Versus pack, which is a theme that actually went on as Beast Wars continued, where they did individual and Versus pack prize campaigns. This is from the TV Magazine in December '99. Again, this is a little mini figure, which is normally released in the standard colours as well as completely clear, and then they did a prize campaign version as well. Again, another even smaller figure. We only originally had these 2 magazine scans where it was limited to 100, but this guy, Andy Santis, who's a rarity of Convoy online, he owns the figure, so he sent us a picture to include in the slide. And this thing's tiny, it's probably only a couple of inches.
There's a silver version of Primal as well, which is the Pioneer Convoy from the DVD releases. It came with the letter at the bottom. Yeah, that kind of completed Beast Wars Metals. This was Neo. Gold Big Convoy. So we own the only known version of Gold Big Convoy. We know there are at least 2 different versions. So our version came in a gift set with Gold Magnetron. We already had Gold Magnetron at the time, so we asked the seller to split it, which he did. How we thought about the time, we should have just bought them as the gift set. So they'll be an individually boxed one, as well as the Versus set. We don't know what magazine they came from. Still haven't found that down, but he was really nice. He was very expensive, but yeah, it's kind of cool. Did I go on? What was it? A gold magnetron. So I was in Taiwan. We sold quite a few of them. There are two variations of gold magnetron. The single box one, which is on the right hand side, comes with plastic weapons. The Versus pack comes with gold chrome weapons, which is on the top left image. We only found that out when we bought Big Convoy. He sent us the weapons for magnetron by mistake, which we had to send back. But it's quite cool to find out there is a variant within.
We think it's either from a 99 issue of TD magazine or a 2000 issue of Comic Bonbon, and again from one of the issues that we're missing. It's quite hard going back trying to find those back issues. There tends to be certain ones that are just missing when we go through stores in Japan.
The black version, a lot of these came out probably about 10 years ago. There were quite a few being sold through Taiwan.
This figure is, we got this toy from the same guy that we got a few other lucky draws from, and people were like, oh no, it's fake, it doesn't exist, no one's ever listed it before, it's not shown anywhere, but we trusted the guy, and then well, it's done two slides. A little bit later on we found the magazine scan of it.
Blue Big Convoy came out again at similar time. Generally they were sold loose rather than boxed through the seller at the time.
Yeah, so they turned up online, and people again, because they weren't on a lot of sites, people were thinking that they were just fake or customs.
So this was the magazine scan. There is also a Red Hindlad, which not documented really ever going around. That's the only known image of Red Hindlad, supplied to us by a guy called Tony Perito, who is here for the weekend, tempting toys. Again, never seen online. You won't see it listed pretty much anywhere on any website.
Again, in that case, it's a digital mock-up of Hindlad rather than.
And it's the back versions. Moving on. So Intercar robots are in the skies. They did Brave Max, who came with the different parts of the cog, and then later on the Godsword. Fire Convoy, still one of the nicest lucky draws. Fire Convoy was released in about 6 different draws, so there's quite a few of them across DVDs, magazines, and I think also online.
It's reported that there were 665 of them, which is a really weird number. It's more likely to be somewhere between 700 and 1,000. I'm going to try to get rid of this bloody thing. Is that going to go on? It's not. No, it's not going to go on, is it?
They probably didn't want to make the equivalent of the devil.
They did Black God Bomber. So if anyone came to one of the older assemblies a few years ago, we actually received God Bomber 2 days, or Magnus, sorry.
Yeah, Magnus.
But we received him 2 days before the show, so we brought him along for the first time. Up until that point, he'd never been seen. The only image was this little image of him on the general fire convoy.
And that's probably about 120 pixels.
It's tiny.
The image. We still haven't found the magazine scan it's from, so we can get a better quality.
There's also rumour that there's a gold leaf convoy, which is basically the transparent convoy, but with like sparkly bits inside it. We're not sure if that's actually real or not. It's really hard to find out. Generations, Ghost of Starscream. He's a clear Starscream. Generally, if you buy him now, he'll be a yellow Starscream because the clear toys don't really stay clear for very long. But it was from the first Generations book. Primus, again, from Generations.
From the deluxe book, so limited to 100 pieces. It's not bad again, based on some of the comics.
So Clear Six Shot, we got Clear Six Shot was our first lucky draw toy. We got in about 2002. He was released through whichever magazine that is. Hype Hobby. The draw came out initially, which was on the left-hand side, and then a few months later, they then released his profile card as well, and we did it within sort of white being clear at the time. It's again quite a cool toy, but sort of turns yellow over time, which kind of yellows up. Clear toys are really hard to photograph as well. Nothing to focus on.
Yeah, it was odd that they printed a bio for it in a separate magazine.
That's still coming out.
Again,
And they did the black version as well. Completely black other than red eyes.
showing
There was a gold wheels, sort of Millennium Convoy version. This again is a very highly faked toy. There's a lot of fake primes and convoys out there anyway, and people decide to gold chrome wheels up. I wouldn't buy one of these. If you don't own one, I wouldn't buy one because it'd be so hard to find out if it's real or fake now. But that was what he looked like. Micron Legends.
Ooh.
Super Patch Prime, Jetfire, they do combine if you want to try and scratch them.
My childhood.
Wouldn't recommend
And
it.
hence why he's balancing.
Yeah,
That trailer is shit.
yeah. Gold Spark Plug. Micron Legend was kind of like the big bulk of when Lucky Draw started to come out and campaign figures going through. Megatron, who at the time was again one of the few non-chromed campaign prizes, done in quite a cool black and snot green colour.
Blue Overload.
Ultra Magnus.
Or Ice Magnus, yeah, it was kind of cool at the time. Limited to 100. There's one on eBay at the moment, it's $2,500 if you want to bid on it.
Trying to give away mine.
It's why it stays in it.
Yeah, it's the only Micron Legend one we don't know. Yeah, I'll make him an offer.
For that price.
I'll make him an offer at some
It's
stage.
not.
Green Emerald Unicron. You've seen Armada, and the end of Armada,
I've seen it.
he turns green as he's fighting the minicons. It's what he's
That's a clone made by the minicons to fight the real
yeah,
one.
so that's what he's based on. At one stage, they were selling for around $5,000. It's one of the more popular campaign prizes from that time because it's Unicron and it kind of looks kind of cool. Draw toys now cost a lot less. If you're trying to buy them, they cost a lot less than they did probably 10 years ago. A lot of people dropped out in the market because of fakes.
Oh, the movie.
Other than movie stuff, which you can't get outside of China.
Dave, sorry, mate. How many of those unicorns are there? No?
I think about 50, but I can't remember. It could be 10. I'm not sure.
Put a red com logo on it.
Need to find out.
Glass.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go on to Energon. Some Energon and Galaxy Force, or Super Link Galaxy Force, we have more magazine scan stuff. Okay, yeah, so obviously up. So left hand side the magazine, right hand side is Prime.
We're going to go through a few of these a bit quicker just to get through.
Two Evolumuses, gold and silver. They do again. They would combine if you were brave enough to do it.
Silver was limited to 20.
So this is what generally the current competitions, how they were printed when you won. So in this case, these were the 5 winning entries, and they won gold prime. I'm not sure why there is a decapitated Megatron head floating around prime. You got a little vicious at the time. That was the gold figure that you won. Gold Omega Supreme. So the largest gold chromed Transformer which was done, again the magazine scan saying it was limited to 10.
So that's the TV magazine. TV magazine often do draws, or they used to do draws around December, and it'd be 2 or 3 pages of prize items.
Yeah, so you got there's some suitable Gundams and various other lines as well.
What's that human-looking figure in the?
Anything on the red background?
It's from I can't remember which line it is based on. It's the original Japanese like Power Rangers version.
Oh, Sentai.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Galvatron, again, a bit like the Armada Megatron done in black. Like in red.
That's basically Black Shadow, as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned.
Kicker was done as Fire Kicker in red. There are rumours that there's a black version as well. Again, we haven't seen it, but yeah,
It's probably just a bad scam.
probably. So this is a current competition form for the various different prizes that went through. We actually entered a few of these ourselves. So these were some of the 10 winners of some of the prizes. So, I'm going to go figure that one, but the first one pretty much is just Prime, and then it's various different versions that people did. And then those 10 people won this custom coloured Prime, which was this version here. The actual release toy doesn't have orange legs, it has grey legs. So it's still got tweaked at the end. They were 3 of our entries, so we did a few entries at the time. So we did General Prime, Magnus and Fire Guts, Defensor, Bruticus, and Anglo Convoy, which was based on a friend of ours. And the old one was the next one. So this was in 2004? So we did this black Super Link Prime. This is San Diego Comic Con figure. Basically, is that toy just in a different mold, which I thought was a little bit freaky. But hang on, I designed that like 10 years ago. They did various weapons as well. Gold Masterpiece MP1 Convoy. If you ever went to roll out Roll Call, we did a similar panel about 3 years ago. This was our Holy Grail. We do now own it. So we need a new one now. Keep going through. Just be up. So, Robot Masters this should go into, hopefully. So again, different entries for Robot Master competitions. That was the final version. And known as Crayola Colour Convoy, and he is very, very garish.
Like a bootleg from its official.
Pretty much.
Yeah, different names of shit.
At this point, they're going to go into.
You have to get King for it. So Galaxy Force again, there were different colour competitions, lots of different entries. Third prize, there were 5 silver Galaxy convoys, which looks a bit like this. I've only seen 2 for sale, and I know Aaron Archer has one as well.
Aaron Archer?
Yeah. Second prize won the gold version of Galaxy Convoy. You go through, so the gold Galaxy Convoy. And first prize was this one custom colour competition. You got the toy made to your design, or fair enough close. We actually entered this competition ourselves, sent it off. We couldn't have won it, it was only open to Japanese residents. But our entries were, again, purple and pink Anglo Convoy. A green convoy is really similar to one we won, and big convoy. But we didn't win. So we move on to get the Galaxy Full, so Megatron or Galvatron as he would have been at that time. Megalo Convoy. There's 2 versions of him.
I'm just going to go through quickly because we've got a lot.
Fire Sky into his name later on.
Did you actually ever win any of the competitions you offered?
No, because we weren't. Most of them were open only to Japanese residents, so we entered them, not really kind of realising.
We did enter one via someone who's in Japan, but we didn't win.
There's loads of movie bits, so yeah, apologies for speeding up, we are running behind. So there's 2 versions, one of them's fake, one of them's real. Again, it was around the time people started faking stuff. The statues, there were H8 of them, although not all H8 came out. Australia had them, I think Malaysia, Taiwan, various different places, so they've done generally through Hasbro Asia. And this really was the first toy that Hasbro started doing lucky draws outside of the US, still in Asia. Before that it was just Takara.
It's also one that doesn't change, it's glued in place.
Protoform, so again, Gold, Prime, Megatron, Starscream, done. This was the first US, if you like, campaign figure done at BotCon. You had your face sculpted onto Prime for the winner.
Oh dear God.
So it's Prime with a moustache, humanised face. Henki, by far the most faked toy line, especially in terms of lucky draws. They did Prime and Galvatron.
I can tell you a lot of stories behind this. They involve gun running and lots of other fake stuff came out from China at the time, because I had
But not now.
rather long conversations with a guy who was doing a lot of them, which was really weird.
So, Revenge of the Fallen, again, exactly for Strange, very hard to see this figure. A lot of the movie toys started to prove really popular in China, so a lot of lucky draws now stay within China, and they don't really come out to the West, or get released to the West. Clear, sort of transparent, Prime. Animated, Prime Bumblebee and Megatron, they probably cost you about $400 now. They're still cool because they're animated, so...
Bumblebee's the hardest to get to find.
Yeah. There's various different categories. There's glasses, keychains, some sort of Legends figures, battle damage, loads. It was said to be limited to 1,000, I think.
Yeah.
But we managed to prove there's more than that. We didn't buy a case of them, but we bought the case, so we could work out how many.
The guy we got it from had a case came from the factory from China, and he offered me one, and I said, okay, but can you send me the mailer as well? He said, well, why is that? Oh no, just send me the mailer. And it was just so that I could get it through, so we could see how many it was packed in the box, so 12, and you've got the item numbers on there as well, so 5 out of 92. So yeah, there's 1,104 made. Not
And the main part of that is that it confirmed generally with most Lucky Draw toys, when they're produced, they will be produced on the general scale as whatever goes into the mailer. So when it's limited to 1 or 2, it's very unlikely. There'll generally be whatever went into that packaging box.
if it's a case of 6 toys, normally they'll do them in boxes of 6. So if a prize is there's 10 drawn, they will make 12, and the other 2 will get either given out to somebody else or sold to local stores.
So Dark of the Moon, Megatron, Prime, maybe Sensible Prime as well was on the next slide as well. I think there's like 10 of each again of these. These ones did sort of come out on eBay to get them. A lot of them again still sort of stay within China. Bumblebee was done in gold and silver. Silver's really rare. I've only seen that one picture of them. Mechatech Weapons. Adventure Team, what is it? Adventures.
Prime.
So yeah, Prime in for the West. So there's a Bumblebee and an RC done generally. There was also a custom colouring competition. There were 2 winners. Someone won a custom bulkhead and a custom RC. Toys have never been seen, but they were the winners, the winning entries. Some of the Megatron's details were amazing, with dragon and bits on it. We don't know
that rare one reminds me a bit of Beast Wars Rampage.
Rampage, yeah. We don't know if RC won that RC and Bulkhead won that Bulkhead, or if they were just, these were the entries, you won a toy.
So the winners for these are published, and the ages vary from 10 to 49. So the Stars and Stripes Bumblebee was done by a 49-year-old.
RC, we have 2 of them. One is for sale. There's just quite 2. But she's basically the first edition figure, chromed in chrome blue. Prime as well, and there was a display stand on. Transformers Go, they did a gold headset. Lost Age or Age of Extinctions, where you really hit into the ones which are popular in China. So Gold Prime, Gold Bumblebee, Evasion Mode Prime. There's 2 different boxed versions of Evasion Mode Prime. If you go across, so the wording's different within the boxes.
Well, yeah, so one of them is, it says not for sale, a sample.
There was a Milk Magazine Convoy, which was like a really detailed version. The original movie toy was then released within Singapore as a drop, as another prize campaign toy in 2014. We go on to the other Singapore releases. So they started doing painted silver figures which didn't transform. Bumblebee's in a really bizarre mode. Crosshairs. Interesting part of that, you can't really tell on this lighting, but this one's got green plastic still, which probably means it's fake, whereas the other one is all chromed over.
Sorry, can I just ask a question?
Yep.
How did you translate all this stuff? Did you just
Japanese, we learned Japanese for a year. I'm lucky enough to work with a Japanese guy and I have an office in Japan, so I send them pictures. Can you just translate this for me, please? They, very lucky, but they get very annoyed with me, so if I drag it out, yeah. School and things.
Yeah, those don't change, they're glued.
No, they're well, not glued, but they're just painted down here, but they don't move, it's kind of pointless. And the silver one will be
Okay.
the only US campaign figure, and the only time Lucky Draw has ever been used on anything official was for the Silver Generation Jetfire.
The term Lucky Draw was actually created in the 90s. No one knows exactly where it came from. It's believed it was probably from something like the Tall Transformers or All Transformers news groups. It predates most of the current websites, but it's basically a bad translation. But it was used within the fandom, and then Hasbro actually used it for the first time. So that is the first actual use of Lucky Draw. Because in Japan they are literally just prize campaign figures.
You've seen the Lucky Draw chromed Megatron from Combining Wars. I didn't know about this until we were going through to do this presentation. So again, if you spend X amount of money, you enter into a competition, you won Megatron. They value him at $600, but you can't buy him, so it's a bit odd that they actually even give him the value. But yeah, there's probably one of them somewhere. And he was in a case.
Can I ask, has a Lucky Draw Jetfire ever been seen outside of a poster? Have you ever seen them on eBay or anything?
No, I didn't know it existed until we did this, and a friend of ours said, oh yeah, there's this one, you need to add to it.
Oh.
And, Adventure Team, so there's a little mini Prime.
The current robots in disguise for him, basically.
Last night had so many lucky draw toys, and this one does include bits which hasn't been named yet. So we've done the weapon, the silver shield, and the axe. The axe was only released last week, I think, because it was due to come out in a couple of weeks as a lucky draw version. Battle damage versions of Prime, Bumblebee, and Barricade. The Gold Prime statue, which was done in Malaysia through Facebook, limited to 10.
Yep.
Going through, and they're actually glued to the bottom of the case, so it doesn't transform and you can't take it out.
So you can see this was a draw done in this June.
And they're going to be all good for people to ship, so they'll be quite hard to get outside of Malaysia because the figure's glued inside a case which is glued. So if you ship it, it's going to rock around.
They're already selling for up to $6,000.
Oh my god.
How much?
$6,000.
There's a model kit done again through Malaysia of Prime. Gold Megatron is due to be done in Taiwan. He was announced 2 weeks ago, I think. Which is cool. The next slide is I believe is the next one, isn't it? Yeah. So this is the one which hasn't been announced yet, which is a black Megatron from last night. Again, it's going to be done through Malaysia. It's in a case. We don't know how many it's limited to. We were contacted by a guy in Malaysia who's entered it.
No, it's limited to 2. This is 1 to 2. It's limited to 2. It's one of these draws. So with some of the draws, you have to buy figures. Once you get up to a certain amount, you basically get a slip to enter into a draw, and then they draw the name at random. In this case, it's about merchandise, and you have to buy £60 worth of merch to get entered into a draw. And within the first day, the stores that put it on sale had already sold £10,000 worth of stock.
That only works, but
And it's going to run. It's running at the moment. It hasn't been covered by any of the websites. It's just running in Malaysia, and the winners will probably be drawn at the end of the month. Yeah, and someone snuck into the shop and took a picture of it for us.
Gold Mega Drive Megatron. I mean, we've only seen this one in one box image.
Limited to 5. Came with a different Streets of Rage cartridge. Because why not?
Gary, Gold and Silver. Anyone own the Transformers lollies? If not, why not? I've got 2 of them.
They come in grape, cola, and lemonade flavours.
They do, yeah.
Oh god.
Don't taste like that. But yeah, they did a Gold and Silver one, limited to 1. The next part, there's an argument over Lucky Draw. Really, it should just be campaign figures rather than Lucky Draw, because the nature of how you won these toys now has changed. Modern day version is you buy a load of merch, and then whoever spends the most amount of merch, at the end of the day, gets a figure. So it's kind of gone from being luck to whoever's got the most amount of money on a day can go into a shop and, in essence, buy it. This was done through Yahoo Japan in an auction, limited to 1, customised by for a Japanese idol at the time.
Is that image on the left, does that show that figure in robot mode or not?
No, so she's holding the normal regular release Spinal Meister,
Yeah.
which is the white version, and they just had. So these were the only 2 images from Yahoo Japan. I haven't seen them come back up, so.
It raised a lot of money, but I think the guy who actually won didn't pay, and so they had to relist it.
Maybe she has a Mazda or RX-8 like that in real life.
Battle Blaze Bumblebee went to the person who spent the most amount of money in Hong Kong. Again, it'll be probably glued into the case. Perfect Choice Cheetahs was basically, if you wanted a toy for this magazine, you just sent off a form.
It's mail away.
And you got the toy. So yeah, it's mail away rather than campaign. Legends Megatron, the 300s, but again, if you spend X amount of money, first 300 people spend over £32 to get the toy. So it's why really, Lucky Draw's a bad term now, it should just be campaign. So green test shot of Flash the Icon, again based on one frame or so from the anime.
Really loose.
There should be. There are a couple of fake figures, and we've bought a few fakes sometimes in the past deliberately. So Chrome Starscream, Chrome Prime, the Roller. They were sold under the lunchtime specials, which some are real, they are test shots, others are fakes. The Silver Protoform Prime, Henky, which is definitely fake, and there's a gold, a silver, and a clear.
Do
What do you
the
mean by
fakes,
lunch?
Sorry.
I was going to say, do the fakes still warrant a good price tag?
The people trying to sell them will do, because they'll sell them as official. They won't sell them as fake. They'll just put it up. They'll make up some draw and say, oh, the silver whatever is from some Japanese one. So they'll still ask for a lot of money. There is really no value to them, because they're not like in a lot of cases like the primes. They are the knockoff toys that have been chromed over as well. So
I'm not sure if they'd be like listed as a fake that you saw.
to give you an idea, the fake Henki toys, they cost $4 to make, and they were selling those at the time for anything from $250 up to $500.
If you look, I don't know if it's still there, but last week, if you looked on eBay, this gold bumblebee's for sale. I think it's either $50 or $250 is the asking price. We know it's fake because the guy who made it gave us that one for free and said, I'm making these up to sell, do you want one? I'll just mail it off to you. Okay, cool, so we just left it in a bag. And then on eBay, people are selling them as being official, which is, obviously you can't, we try to contact the sellers to say that it's fake, just you're misleading people. Because people buy it and think they've got a limited toy and it's just not.
What does it mean by lunchtime specials?
Lunchtime special was a terminology given
So,
for
the
toys made in people's lunch breaks.
It was when the theory was factory workers on their lunch breaks, when no one was looking, would make up toys from additional parts, shove them out the back door, and they would go and get sold down the streets. Now, there is some truth to bits of that, but most of the figures that were classified as lunchtime specials were either test shots, and it's because that they were produced in either chrome or clear colours, or they were actually done to test the moulds. And then what they did is they would give them to local stores to sell. So there are occasionally workers would run off a few parts through the bin. So we have a lunchtime special collector's edition Megatron, which is half normal Megatron, half clear, and that is where someone has got the parts that were in a bin, put them together, but has sold them as that. They haven't tried to say, no, this is a campaign thing. But there are others where it's entirely clear parts.
Is that your collection?
That's part of our collection.
That's about quarter.
Oh, so you're an out the box type of.
Oh yes.
Okay, cool.
Even the lucky draws. There's about 10 lucky draws that are in the boxes.
Yeah.
But all the other ones, anything which was on the red background's ours.
Yeah.
We take them out.
Photograph.
I'm of the same philosophy.
Yeah.
And we're just in time. Thank you.